Tonight, we celebrate the 7th Annual Fairness Award, and for those of you familiar with GFI and tonight's award ceremony, you know that this evening promises to be not only a celebration of 3 very unique and accomplished leaders, but also a whole lot of fun. So stick around for that on a Wednesday night in D.C. Can you believe that? GFI designed the Fairness Award to honor leaders who embrace its conviction that achieving sustainable economic change happens when all economic stakeholders, including governments, the private sector, civil society, and trade unions, are fully engaged in dialogue and solutions. The leaders you'll meet shortly walk this walk, and they've all taken steps to improve the livelihoods of workers and the poor throughout the world. GFI believes sustained economic development is achieved by advancing fair wages, equal access to markets, and balanced public policy. This unique approach generates economic opportunities and works to reduce poverty. This results-driven work is supported by the extraordinary vision and impressive leadership of GFI's board. So let's begin the award ceremony. Our first presenter this evening is Senator Chris Murphy. Senator Murphy is a junior United States Senator from Connecticut who is committed to serving and advocating for Connecticut families. Senator Murphy currently serves on the Foreign Relations Committee and the Health, Education, Labor, and Pensions Committee, and he was recently named to the prestigious Appropriations Committee, the money man. In Congress, Senator Murphy is a strong voice for sensible anti-gun violence measures, forward-looking foreign policy, job creation, and reform of the U.S. mental health system. Prior to the Senate, Murphy served for 3 terms in the U.S. House, representing his state's 5th congressional district, where he worked to foster job creation and advocate for affordable health care. Before being elected to Congress, Murphy served in the Connecticut State Legislature for 8 years, authoring historic stem cell legislation and the state's workplace smoking ban. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Connecticut Senator Chris Murphy.
Well, thank you very much for that kind introduction, and I'm so honored and pleased to be here with you tonight for the Fairness Awards, to be able to present a really important award to my friend Randi Weingarten, and I'm really honored to be able to say a few words on her behalf. Let me thank you for all the work that you've done to bring a message of economic and social justice to places that simply don't have the capability, the aptitude, and the ability to raise their voices on their own. You know, it wasn't so long ago when 3% of this country's GDP was spent on trying to bring open economies and open democracy to the world. That was around 1950. Today, the percentage of our GDP that's dedicated to those projects is 0.1%. 0.1%, a 94% diminution. And so we have a lot of work to do to try to make sure that it's not just the non-for-profit sector, that it also is the U.S. government that's trying to help lift and raise people up out of poverty all across the world. As a member of the Senate Health, Education, and Labor and Pensions Committee, I've really gotten to know Randi through our work together over the past few years to reauthorize the Elementary and Secondary Education Act, which is the replacement for No Child Left Behind. This is now called the Every Student Succeeds Act. Together with AFT and with Randi's help, we helped pass a new K-12 education law that rolls back the rigid test and punish framework of No Child Left Behind and replaces it with a system where state and local leaders who know their schools best can set their standards, can set their improvement plans. But that law, importantly, also protects minority students, English learners, and students with disabilities. And Randi was instrumental in helping to secure those protections. When the Every Student Succeeds Act was signed into law last December, Randi's role and that of AFT, it became even more important because now the decisions about what a good school is going to be and how we're going to get more schools into that category, it's really up to local school districts. And AFT's 1.6 million members across the country are now undertaking the task of implementing that law. No more federal bureaucrats telling schools what they should do. Now it's up to AFT's members. Since 2008, Randi has led the AFT in its effort to elevate the teaching profession and promote equity for students. But personally, I appreciate the fact that since 2012, since the tragedy that happened in my state, in Newtown, Connecticut, Randi has made sure that teachers are also leading on the question of how to keep students and teachers safe. She has pushed the labor movement, every corner of it, to become more involved in the fight for gun safety. But the reach of her advocacy, it goes beyond American classrooms, and I know that that's really at the heart of what you're honoring her for today. She's made it clear that access to quality education for children around the world is the path out of poverty. Tragically, there are too many boys and girls that have never had the opportunity to succeed because they are forced into work or trafficked into slavery. So Randi made it a priority and made it one of AFT's priority to combat slavery and forced labor throughout the world. Under her leadership, AFT is a leader in raising awareness of the relentless issue of slavery and forced labor that occurs throughout the world every day. More than 45 million people in the world are trapped in these conditions. So AFT is part of an international human rights coalition right now that's pressuring the government of Uzbekistan to end its notorious practice of child labor. In Jamaica and the United States, AFT has partnered with the Jamaica Teachers Association to pilot a joint anti-child trafficking program to help put an end to the serious problem of child trafficking in both countries. Randi and the AFT have urged Nigerian authorities to secure the safe release of youth who are targeted by Boko Haram. These efforts are all part of Randi's mission to make quality education accessible to children throughout the world, keeping our kids and our communities safe. This is a big job today leading a labor union. In the midst of changing national education law, there is enough on Randi's plate just trying to manage all of her members, just trying to manage her and her organization's way through changing federal education policy that you could excuse her. In fact, you might expect that the leader of that organization wouldn't have the ability to take on these international issues as well. But the moral authority that comes with the labor movement, the moral authority specifically that comes with the American Federation of Teachers, it's badly needed right now. At a moment where we have these shrinking budgets trying to help rescue people out of poverty, trying to deliver economic opportunity to kids throughout the world, having teachers here in the United States raising their voice, joining it with ours in the United States Congress on the Senate Foreign Relations Committee, it matters. And so when I was asked to come here and deliver this award to Randi, I, of course, jumped at the opportunity. Randi, at the last minute this evening, had a personal issue that she had to attend to, and so I'm pleased to present the Fairness Award this evening to Randi Weingarten. On her behalf, accepting it will be AFT Executive Vice President Mary Catherine Ricker. Please give both Randi and Mary a big round of applause.
Perfect.
There you go. Let's take a shot here.
All right. Thank you so much.
I'm going to clear my stuff out of here.
That was perfect. Thank you. Thank you so very much, Senator Murphy. You are a hero of mine as well as Randi's because of your sincere and continuing effort to have common sense gun laws for all of us. I think the community of Sandy Hook, your valiant efforts, they are giving us courage in the face of adversity, and we are so proud to stand with you whenever you need us. Randi profusely apologizes. Yes, absolutely. Randi profusely apologizes for not being with you tonight. She did have a family issue in New York, and she told me specifically to tell everyone that receiving the Global Fairness Award is a huge honor and a privilege. You see in her what I get to see in her leadership every day I work alongside her, and what is clear Senator Murphy sees in her as well. So I want to thank you on Randi's behalf. I'd also like to acknowledge the other award recipients we're going to hear from tonight who are doing valiant work, and we are honored to stand alongside. Dr. Okonjo and Christina, thank you so much. We are looking forward to continuing our work along yours for global fairness across the world. I think Senator Murphy is right in that it is logical for someone to ask why the AFT gets so involved in international issues and doesn't just deal with what's on our plate in the United States, which is a lot. There's a lot on our plate in the United States. But because, quite frankly, it is in AFT's DNA to empower workers here and abroad, to ensure social justice here and abroad, and along the way, work with unions and their members here and in countries across the globe to ensure that workers are empowered to do our jobs well and provide the best services possible, and that people are treated fairly and humanely. Senator Murphy's right. The core of the labor movement is that an injury to one is an injury to all, and we expect to act that out not just here in our own country, but globally. It is in AFT's DNA. The new world we are facing, quite frankly, with Donald Trump at the helm, is uncertain at best. We are struggling to figure out what this victory will mean to peace, security, the economy, civic stability, and global fairness. Will the world be a more fair place with less abuse, less discrimination, less bullying? Will the economy allow people a ladder of opportunity? Will our public education system be preserved, supported, and funded, or will it be privatized and defunded? Will our democratic values, including a free press, be maintained or threatened? Will every person be given dignity and respect that they deserve and be free of discrimination, bigotry, and bullying? The answer? It will only if we collectively decide it will. It is up to us to make sure that we know the answers to those questions. Here in the United States and globally, we must fiercely advocate for what is best for our children and our families, like preserving and supporting a great public education for all kids, ending child labor and child trafficking around the world, treating all people with dignity and respect, and protecting and preserving human and civil rights. The AFT has been an active participant in global campaigns against privatization, human trafficking, in places like Jamaica, free speech rights that were literally killed off in Mexico with the murders of student teachers, our AIDS education work with teachers in Africa, and fighting child labor abuses in too many countries to count. Obviously, the AFT keeps a focus on the harmful effects across the globe to get families to enroll in these so-called low-fee private schools. There are countries in the world who are pushing low-fee schools to families who can barely afford a roof over their heads or food on the table. As an example, half of all the schools in Kenya are low-fee private schools. Half. And who's behind these schools? For-profit Western corporations, the World Bank, others who are trying to make a buck off of desperately poor families, and they're not even providing a quality education. Tonight, I want you to hear the tale of two countries when it comes to these schools. In Ghana, students who attend these low-fee schools have to wear a particular color bracelet denoting the school they can afford to attend and how long they can afford to attend that school based on what their parents have paid for their education. This is public shaming. It is disgusting and it is unethical. The other story is that in Uganda, just 2 weeks ago, the Supreme Court ordered the country to shut down all of the Bridge Academy low-fee private schools. These schools have no floors, They are basically built out of corrugated boards. Teachers were unqualified and used iPads to teach their lessons. And I want to acknowledge the president of the Uganda Teachers Union, who is our guest here tonight, Juliet Wagina, who led the effort to shut down these horrible schools. This is our work together. An injury to one is an injury to all. My friends, we have our work cut out for us. We do. We have seen some successes, but there is much more work to be done until we can say we have made real, genuine, enduring, lasting progress in the fight to ensure that children throughout the world, boys and girls, get the quality, free public education, and that all human and civil rights are protected. With the encouragement of this award, I know that Randi will continue to work 24/7 alongside so many of you in the audience tonight to make this world as fair as possible so that every human being can achieve his, her, or our God-given potential. Thank you so much for this award, and I look forward to delivering it to Randi personally. Thank you.